Selworthy Manor was engineered to defy fire. Its thatched roof soaked to 200% water, with every barrier in place drenched by a 30mm/hour storm, and the power grid dead. Yet, as lightning never struck, flames erupted from inside, burning through rain as if the laws of physics had vanished. No scientist has ever explained how. So what really happened the night this mansion caught fire in the rain? Selworthy Manor's defences began with its roof, a structure designed not just to shelter, but to resist the very idea of fire. The thatch, made from densely packed reeds, could hold up to twice its own weight in water. On stormy days, the thatch became a living sponge, each reed swollen and heavy, every fibre saturated. This wasn't accidental. National Trust caretakers followed a strict maintenance routine, inspecting the roof before any forecasted rain. Their logs detail moisture tests, targeted watering, and checks for dry spots. In the hours before the storm, the roof had been deliberately soaked, ensuring not a single patch remained vulnerable. Beneath the reeds, a modern system of fire barriers formed a second line of protection. Flame-retardant felt, layered with dense clay, created a physical block that even embers could not cross. This barrier was meant to suffocate any spark, forcing flames to die out before reaching the wooden structure below. The thatch itself, now waterlogged, was pressed tight against these layers, making the roof a fortress against ignition. Rain gutters and an engineered drainage system ran along the eaves, channeling runoff so every part of the roof remained evenly drenched. This design prevented hidden pockets of dryness, those weak points that could allow a fire to take hold. The walls of the manor, built from solid stone, added another layer of security. Their mass absorbed heat and left no hollow spaces for fire to travel unseen. Every measure reflected lessons learned from past disasters. The National Trust's maintenance checklist became a ritual. Test the thatch, water before storms, confirm the barriers, inspect the drains, review the stonework. Each step was recorded, each result signed off. On the night in question, the caretakers had finished their rounds just as the rain began to fall. By every measure known to science and experience, Selworthy Manor should have been unburnable. Rain hammered Selworthy late into the night, the kind of downpour that drowns sound and leaves gutters overflowing. According to regional Met Office logs from similar storms, rainfall in this part of Somerset can reach 20 to 30mm an hour, enough to send sheets of water cascading from every roof. On this night, the air hung thick with moisture, humidity pressing close to 100%. There was almost no wind. Every branch and reed lay still, pinned by the weight of the weather. Inside the manor, the silence was broken only by rain against stone and thatch. The local power grid had failed hours earlier, a not uncommon event during wartime storms in rural Somerset. No lights burned in the upper stories. With the grid down, every electrical system in the house, wiring, outlets, even backup batteries, was rendered inert. There was no current running through the attic, no transformers humming, no chance for a hidden spark to leap across old wires. Firefighters who later examined the scene described the conditions as the worst possible for any ignition. In their words, even a pile of dry wood would have struggled to catch in that sodden air. Wet biomass, like the manor's thatch, cannot burn until every drop of internal water is boiled away, a process that demands enormous heat. Under these conditions, the energy required to drive off that moisture simply wasn't present. Rainwater, already saturating the roof, continued to pour down, seeping into every crevice and channel built for drainage. The result? A structure not just damp, but waterlogged from ridge to eave. Met Office, NIDIS data from comparable years confirms these storms regularly saturate the ground and buildings alike, leaving no dry refuge for accidental flame. The manor stood encased in water, its roof and walls as close to fireproof as nature and engineering could make them. By every available measure, meteorological, electrical, and structural, the environment itself precluded the possibility of fire. The first sign that something was wrong came as a sound, unexpected, sharp, and utterly out of place. The caretaker, making a last check of the lower hall, heard it above the rain, a crackling, like logs shifting in a hearth. But there was no fire burning anywhere in the attic or roof, and certainly not on a night like this. He paused, listening as the noise grew louder, more insistent, echoing down through the sodden thatch. Out on the road, neighbours stopped in the rain, drawn by a strange reddish glow seeping from the roof's peak. It didn't flicker like lightning or headlights. Instead, it pulsed, steady and internal, as if the house itself was smouldering from within. Some described it later as the colour of heated metal, dull but unmistakably alive. Before any flame appeared, a thick plume of steam began to rise from the centre of the roof. White vapour billowed upward, curling into the storm, far more than rain alone could explain. Witnesses recalled how the steam seemed to pour out in waves, obscuring the upper windows before the first hint of fire showed itself. Then, without warning, flame erupted, not from the outside, but from deep within the roof, forcing its way out through layers of rain-soaked reed. The fire didn't climb upward as expected. Instead, it pushed downward, tracing a path from the core of the roof toward the eaves, as if gravity itself had been reversed. Water ran in sheets over the thatch, yet the flames glowed brighter, defying every rule of combustion. Firefighters arriving minutes later found the roof burning from the inside out. Their hoses sent torrents of water over the thatch, but the fire only seemed to intensify beneath the spray. The incident commander's log captured the confusion. We weren't putting out a roof fire. We were cooling the outside of something burning inside the roof. Thermal logs from the aftermath told a story that defied every expectation. Investigators found the highest temperatures not at the surface, where rain and hoses battered the thatch, but deep beneath the wet layers. Subsurface readings peaked between 600 and 900 degrees Celsius, temperatures typical of a roaring kiln, not a sodden roof in a storm. Yet, at the surface, the sensors showed nothing but cool, wet reed. Forensic chemists ran gas chromatography mass spectrometry on fragments of the thatch and timber, searching for traces of accelerant. Every test returned negative. No petroleum, no alcohol, no residue of any known fire starter. The thatch itself, when examined under a scanning electron microscope, revealed something stranger still. The reed cells were ruptured and hollow, as if each stem had been flash-boiled from the inside. This was not the slow, smouldering breakdown of plant matter. It was the signature of water turned instantly to steam, splitting cell walls in a violent surge. Materials analysts noted the absence of soot on the stonework, a detail that unsettled even the most experienced fire officers. Where a typical fire leaves blackened residue, here the stone looked heat-polished, almost glazed. Along the inner faces of the walls, white mineral streaks traced downward, a bloom of salts that only appears when stone is subjected to prolonged, intense heat and forced moisture migration. The burn pattern itself defied logic. Instead of the erratic spread of a wind-driven blaze, the damage radiated in a near-perfect circle from a central point within the roof. Beams near the core had burst outward, as if pressure had built up inside until the structure could no longer contain it. With no accelerant, no dry fuel, and no plausible ignition source, the evidence left experts with more questions than answers. Every instrument, every sample, every analysis pointed to a fire that should not have been possible, one that rewrote the rules of combustion and left behind only the puzzle of its own existence. In December 1941, Selworthy Manor's roof, engineered to hold 200% of its weight in water, ignited under 30 millimeters of rain per hour, with regional electrical power cut and every standard ignition source documented as absent. Forensic analysis confirmed no accelerants, no wiring, and no dry material inside the roof. Firefighters recorded internal temperatures between 600 and 900 degrees Celsius, while the surrounding thatch remained saturated. Lab reports found boiled reed cells and mineral blooms on stone, evidence of intense internal heat and steam pressure, not slow combustion. Yet, to this day, no scientific model explains how ignition overcame water, or why the fire spread downward, ignoring basic physics. Archival records and National Trust documents remain silent on any comparable event. The Selworthy fire stands as a unique forensic paradox. All defences in place, all known causes eliminated, and still the flames appeared. Today, the rebuilt manor stands as a reminder that even the best engineering can be outmatched by forces science cannot yet explain.